This is the beginning of chapter 12, in which we are studying infrared spectroscopy and mass spectrometry. So I wanted that I should go through this chapter with you, through some parts of this chapter actually, and help you to understand some important concepts. So this is my explanation of this chapter. What I want from you is go through this chapter with me, and we will be studying some important topics, some important parts of this chapter, and learning some important concepts. We know that the electromagnetic spectrum consists of many regions, and we already know what is meant by frequency. What do you understand by wavelength? So this we already know. And this is how you can convert one property into another. If you know frequency and wavelength, you can calculate C. C is what? C is the speed of light, and this is the value of the speed of light. 3 into 10 raised to power 10 centimeter per second. This is lambda. Lambda is the wavelength, and wavelength is this. So we know this already. We also know that electromagnetic radiations are waves. They are composed of photons, so they travel as photons. And photons are massless packets of energy. So it means radiation is quantized. Okay, so every photon will have what? A certain amount of energy. So you can use this formula to convert frequency into energy or wavelength into energy. And we know that H is Planck's constant, and its value is given here. This is the regions of electromagnetic spectrum. Infrared is here. This is the energy. This is the wavelength. So there are many regions in electromagnetic spectrum. We are interested in which part? In the part that is infrared. We already know that infra is from Latin and it means below or less than. So infrared means below red. Below red in what sense? In energy, in frequency, not in wavelength. So infrared has higher wavelength than red, but it has lower frequency and so lower energy. So this is how you can understand. And if you look at some IR spectra, you will see, and this is a very easy numbers to remember. Okay, common infrared spectrometer operate in the middle of this region, that is the region of the infrared, and its wavelength is this. That is 2.5 into 10 raised to power minus 4 centimeter to 25 into 10 raised to power minus 4 centimeter. So this is important, and just keep this in mind. And this region is important for us. This region is important for us. Today, the IR spectrum is presented in a way that we use not the wavelengths, but we use wave number. Now the question is, what is wave number? So wave number is just the inverse of wavelength. This is wave number. Its unit is per centimeter or centimeter inverse. And this is the equation. So with this equation, you can convert wave number into wavelength and wavelength into wave number, etc., using this. This micrometer is the unit of length. What is micrometer? Micrometer here. A micrometer corresponds to 1 millionth, that is 10 raised to power minus 6 of a meter. So this is micrometer. So you can use this equation to convert one thing into other. So here are some examples, and so you can use that equation. One of the most important concepts, or you can say the most important concepts in IR, infrared spectroscopy, is molecular vibrations. Actually, IR is related to molecular vibrations. Okay, we know that bonds are not stationary. The atoms connected with a bond, they are not stationary, but they vibrate. For example, this is one atom, this is the other atom, and they are bonded. And this is a kind of example that if you have two balls connected with a spring, so you can stretch them and you can compress them. And so this compression and stretching goes on and on and on. And then you have some equilibrium, bond length and equilibrium value. So they are, on the average, they are going to and fro and stretching and undergoing compression, compressed, and also, so this is known as vibration. And here we have two very, very important points. That is, the frequency of the stretching vibration depends on, number one, masses of the atoms, and number two, the stiffness of the bond. So how heavy are these atoms? And how stiff is this spring? So these are the two things that are very, very important. For example, when we say stiffness of the bond, we mean how strong is the bond. Okay, we know that triple bond is very strong as compared to double bond, and double bond is strong as compared to single bond. I'm not saying sigma and pi bond. I'm saying single bond, double bond, triple bond. Similarly, we know that two hydrogen atoms, this hydrogen and this hydrogen, okay, are this carbon and this carbon. So carbon, they are heavy as compared to HH. So these are the two things that we need to keep in mind. Heavier atoms vibrate more slowly than lighter ones. So very, very important point to keep in mind. For example, the characteristic frequency of a CD, D mean deuterium, is lower than a CH bond. Okay, just we have increased the mass of this part, that is, this is deuterium and this is hydrogen, and this is little bit heavier. So its frequency is lower than its frequency of this bond. In a group of bonds with similar bond energies, the frequency decreases with increasing atomic weight or atomic mass. And so this was about how the masses of the atoms, atomic weight, atomic mass, how heavy, how light are the atoms. And now bonds. Stronger bonds are generally stiffer, requiring more force to stretch or compress. Thus, stronger bonds usually vibrate faster than weaker bonds. So this is very important to understand. So they need more force to stretch or to compress. So stronger bonds usually vibrate faster than the weaker bonds. So for example, this is our OH bond, which is a stronger bond as compared to CH bond. This we know from their bond energies. So OH bond vibration. So vibration of this O and H with respect to one another is higher. Triple bonds are stronger than double bonds, and so the triple bonds vibrate at a higher frequency than the double bond. Similarly, double bond vibrates at higher frequency than single bonds. In a group of bonds having atoms of similar masses, the frequency increases with bond energy or bond strength. Okay, and this is the table, and you can go to that table and understand what values are given there and their reason. Now, a very important part is this. What is an infrared spectrum? An infrared spectrum is a graph of the energy absorbed by a molecule as a function of the frequency or wavelength of light. Okay? Even with simple compounds, infrared spectrum contain many different absorptions, not just one absorption for each bond. Mean each bond within a molecule, each bond has many types of or many vibrations and so many different types of absorptions. The methanol spectrum we are going to there is a good example. We can see the broad OH bond stretch around 3,300 per centimeter. The CH stretch just below 3,000 and CO stretch just above 1,000 per centimeter. So these are three values, and keep these values in mind. Okay, not exact values, but their regions. OH, this vibration, that is a stretching. This is the value, this is the region. CH, this is the region. And CO, this is the region. We also see absorptions resulting from bending vibrations, including scissoring and twisting vibrations. So these are different bending vibrations, scissoring, twisting, rocking, etc. In a bending vibration, the bond lengths stay constant. in bending, but the bond angles vibrate about their equilibrium values. So we have stretching and we have bending. So we will talk about stretching and bending vibrations in another slide, but they are very important modes of vibration. These are the values given in this table. This table is important, and we may not be able to understand and to uh, not understand to keep in mind each and everything. We just need to know that these are the bond energies and these are the stretching frequencies. So just in overall, you can say that when we go from this bond energy to here, and this is the CH bond, CD bond, CC bond. So what happens to stretching frequencies? So just keep these frequencies in mind, and CC single bond, CC double bond, CC triple bond. So as the bond strength increases, we are increasing the frequency. As the atomic masses increases, we are seeing the decrease in the frequency. Okay, and this is you can see that what is bonds are here: carbon, nitrogen, and then triple double bond, and then triple bond, and you will see the same thing. And here you can see that we are having carbon oxygen, and oxygen is heavy than nitrogen, so Cn is here and Co is here. And now compare single bond with double bond. So CO single bond is this value and double bond is this value. So this is how you can draw some meaningful conclusions from this table. These are you can say this is stretching, and this is stretching that this edge and this edge, they are going out and coming back simultaneously. But here in this case, this edge is going out, and at that moment, this edge is coming in. So they are not in a symmetrical way. So this is anti-symmetric stretching, and this is symmetric stretching. What about bending? So in bending, we are not talking about the bonds. We are talking about the angles. So this edge and this edge, they go like this is scissoring, mean like a scissor. So they go in both, and they go out simultaneously. So this is how this is this kind of scissoring, but there are other twisting as well, and wagging and other bending vibrations. But scissoring is very, very important. Now, the best way to learn IR spectroscopy is through the spectra, IR spectra. So let us see what is this spectrum all about and how can we understand. Okay, use your eyes. Eyes. IR spectrum is learned through your visual impact, through your eyes. Okay? Your eyes. Use your eyes and see the position of these peaks, but also the shape, how they look like, how they look like. Okay, this is important, how they look like, the position, and how they look like. So these things are important. Secondly, see what is this x-axis. It is wave number. Wave number. Where from it starts? It starts from somewhere here, 600. 600 wave number per centimeter. Where it goes around 4,000. 4,000. Okay, so this is important. This is the important region of the IR that we study. 600 to 4,000 per centimeter. This is the region. And the unit is wave. This property is wave number, and the unit is centimeter inverse or per centimeter. So very, very important. We will be talking about most of the time this thing. Where is this OH group? We will say that it is here at between, you can say 3,300 to 3,600. Okay. Where are the carbon hydrogen stretching? So we will say, okay, this is the region 3,000, around the 3,000. Aliphatic 3,000 and less. Alkenic and aromatic and alkynic more than, higher than 3,000. So we will be talking about this. Where is this OH bending? This is the region. Where is this CO stretching? So this is the region. So we will be talking about this region, this x-axis most of the time. Another way to show this is this. This is same x-axis, and this is the in the terms of wavelength, and the units are micrometer. Micrometer. So they are simple numbers, okay, and they are from here 2.5 to actually 25, but in this case we are ending here 16, and most of the time it is just this region. Yes, so not only the wave numbers, you can also use wavelength in micrometer units, and so these are the units. Okay, now what is this y-axis? So y-axis is transmittance, transmittance in percentage. So this is 0 and this is 100. And so they are not absorption, they are transmittance. Okay, transmittance. It means transmittance is maximum here, absorption is maximum here. So it means they are opposite to one another. So if this is the transmittance, mean transmittance is higher here, 100% transmittance. Okay, 100% transmittance, and though so transmittance increases from 0 to here, and the opposite of this is absorption. Okay, so this is how we are going to understand our spectrum. Okay, how many vibrations are there? So many vibrations are there, and in this spectrum, the region, we can say that we can divide the IR spectrum into different regions. So the region in the region of the IR spectrum containing most of the complex vibrations, which are 600 to 1400, that is sometimes called fingerprint region. Okay, so 600 to 1400. That is known as what? That is known as fingerprint region. Fingerprint region. This is the fingerprint region. Sometimes we say that 600 to 1000 or maybe 1100, but this author is saying that this region, but some books say that it is less than 1000 per centimeter. Okay, that is the fingerprint region. The simple stretching vibrations in this is the region that is the simple stretching vibrations occur. And this is a very, very important region that 1600 to 3500 per centimeter is the most characteristic and predictable region of IR spectrum. So keep this in mind. Okay. our study on infrared, we will concentrate on them. Mean we will not be paying much attention to the fingerprint region that is difficult to understand, difficult to interpret. Okay, but we will be focusing this region. Maybe you can say 1100 to 3500, 1100 to 3500, because there are some important peaks that you will be seeing at 1400 and maybe at 1200. Okay, and so we are not studying everything. We will be focusing on those important things which are important to elucidate uh, the structure and particularly the functional groups. What is the purpose of IR for an organic chemist? It is to identify the functional groups. Now, we have so many bonds in molecules, but all bonds are not active. So very, very important this part, and very, very important concept, vibration, but all vibrations are not IR active. Okay, IR active and IR inactive vibrations. Not all molecular vibration absorb infrared radiation. This is important. Okay, to understand which does do and which do not, we need to consider how an electromagnetic field interacts with a molecular bond. The key of this interaction lies with the polarity of the bond, measured as its dipole. What does this mean? Only the polar bonds are IR active. A bond with a dipole moment can be visualized as a positive charge and a negative charge separated by a spring. If this bond is placed in an electric field, it is either stretched or compressed depending on the direction of the field. Okay, so here the message of this whole paragraph, this paragraph is that only those vibrations are IR active where the bonds are polar. Okay, the bonds are polar. And when the bond is polar, the vibration, we know what is polarity, what is dipole moment. What is dipole moment? So dipole moment is charge in charge, okay, into distance. So if charges are there and distance increases and decreases, so increase and decrease will change the dipole, the dipole moment. And so this decrease and increase in dipole moment will make this bond IR active. If the dipole moment is zero, then that is not active. For example, look at this molecule. Here, this is non-polar bond, carbon-carbon triple bond is non-polar. So if there is a stretching, okay, for example, the triple bond of acetylene has zero dipole moment, and the dipole moment remains zero if the bond is stretched or compressed. Is stretching and compressing of this will not, if you bend it somehow or do something else, then maybe it's a little bit. So, but because the vibration produces no change in the dipole moment, there is no absorption of energy. This vibration is said to be IR inactive. Okay, which of the bonds shown in red are expected to have IR active stretching frequencies? So you can see this is carbon-carbon bond, And this bond is polar or non-polar, a very symmetrical molecule, so it is non-polar. What about this? Definitely it has some polarity. What about this? Exactly not, but because this non-symmetric reality that this here is H, so you can expect a little. What about this? A symmetrical molecule with triple bond in the center, and so we should expect it to be non-active. What about this? Yes, it is, because this is uh, sp hybridized carbon, this is sp3 hybridized carbon, so little bit difference is there, a very small difference, but it is there. Here's again a symmetrical molecule, and so carbon-carbon bond change will bring no change in polarity, no vibrations will change in. So mean you can see that whether the stretching and this compressing make any difference in the dipole moment. Here, what about here? Symmetrical molecule. Okay, what about this bond? Yes, of course. What about this bond? Okay, there is two hydrogens, and here one methyl and one H. So you can see the difference. IR spectrum is determined in a infrared spectrometer, and there are different techniques. And this is the schematic diagram of what is happening inside of a IR spectrometer, etc. We have the Fourier transform IR, FTIR, and there are other ways that how they work. Okay, let's come to now. This is our spectrum, and this spectrum is N-octane. N-octane. In N-octane, we have carbons and hydrogens, and all carbons are sp3 hybridized single bonds. So whenever you have an alkane, your IR spectrum will be very simple. Okay, very simple. The most important are the peaks of interest are here. This is our 3000. This is 3000, and 3000, a little bit below 3000, you will be seeing this CH stretching. C when C is sp3 hybridized, that is alkanes. So you will be seeing this carbon hydrogen stretching uh, just below 3000, and this is a very characteristic region of alkanes. So these bending and this rocking are there, but when we are having more functional groups in a molecule, so it's very difficult to determine whether they are or they are not. But this is very characteristic, and keep this in mind. So you have different ways of these, and here it says that the broad band between 2800 to 3000 is the result of this CH stretching vibrations, and the 1467 results from a scissoring vibration of CH2, and so these are the others as well, but the most important one is we could not look at this spectrum and conclude that the compound is octane. It means IR only can help us and give us information, but without the other information, we are just seeing this spectrum. We cannot say that this is an octane. And octane, we can just simply say that it is an alkane. Which alkane we cannot say unless we have NMR or mass spectras and spectral data with us. Okay, some simple things in a mass spectrum in organic compounds. We will generally be seeing a carbon-carbon single bonds, double bonds, triple bonds. So these are the values, and we need to keep them in mind. Okay, and we know that the stronger the bond mean we are going from single to triple, so this increases. There is an increase, and this is the stretching frequencies. This triple bond, because triple bonds are rare, single are very, very common, and doubles are also there. But this double bond is very characteristic, 1600 to 1680. This is their region, but here it's written that it is 1660. So maybe this is the value around which you have other values. Okay, here it is written 1600 to 1680. So uh, here you can see that you have this double bond, and it is its stretching frequency. When they are in conjugation, okay, so you will see a decrease because conjugation spreads the electrons, and so it little bit less than that. If you have benzene ring, then this is the values. Characteristic carbon-carbon stretching frequencies. It's very important. Double bond may be isolated, may be conjugated, may be in conjugation. Okay, double bond, single bond, double bond, and conjugation. And this is the aromatic, approximately 1600. So mean isolated as higher as compared to aromatic, because in aromatic we have conjugation. So this is important just to, so sometime we need to differentiate whether the signal at 1600 to 1680 is because of alkenic carbon double bond or aromatic. So this will help us because aromatic will be at a lower wave number as compared to this alkenic. So you can see triple bond, and because of this non-symmetric reality, because this is not symmetric now, so it has this dipole moment, and triple bond will appear here. And when you see dipole moment is small or zero, very, very, it may be depending on this. So maybe if they are the same, the zero, otherwise it's very, very small. Carbon-hydrogen bond stretching is very important for us, and this is to keep in mind. Carbon-hydrogen. So carbon-hydrogen, sp3 carbon-hydrogen, sp2 carbon-hydrogen, and sp. So these are the regions, and they are very characteristic. Okay, less than 3000, 3000 and 3100 and 3300. So these are the three very, very important regions for to interpret the IR spectrum. So they are very helpful, very, very helpful. So you will be looking at these values, and you will be seeing, just keep this 3000 in mind. So 3000 and less, 3000 and just a little bit higher, and little bit more higher, 3300, 3300. Okay, so these are the values that we keep in mind. For example, this is the spectrum, and this is the spectrum of n-hexane. It has only carbon-carbon single bonds, and we have carbon-hydrogen stretching. So here you see, this is your 3000. Okay, this, and all these signals are peaks, our absorptions are below 3000. So very simply, and we can say this is alkane. And these are the bending, but we will see that difficult to interpret in a complex spectrum. Just keep in mind that this is there, this is the region. Pay attention to this part. Now, this is alkene, okay? In case of alkene, we need to pay attention to two things. Number one is this. This is your 3000, and you are having, because this has many alkane part and carbon, see this carbons are sp3 avidized, so we have this absorption as well. But here is a carbon-carbon double bond, and carbons sp2 avidized carbon is attached to hydrogens. Okay, two hydrogens here and one hydrogen is here, and because of this you are getting this peak, and this is higher than the 3000. So very, very important to understand. It is 3080, this carbon hydrogen. And we also have this very important thing. We have talked about this, that whenever you have a carbon-carbon double bond, so this is a very characteristic absorption, and this is at 1642 here in this case. But we, if you remember, we talked about this, and it is the carbon-carbon double bond comes between 1600 to 1680. Okay. So the alkene, this and this. Now going to this molecule. Okay, this molecule. Again, this is an alkene. So you will be seeing this thing, and this thing. Okay, where is this thing? Here. This is 3000, and this is higher than that. Okay, and this carbon-carbon bond is now here at 1660. This. So, what about this? This is a carbon-carbon triple bond. We are interested in this because this is so important. Carbon, hydrogen. This is carbon is sp hybridized. So this is our 3000, okay? And far above that, higher than that is 3313. This is our carbon hydrogen stretching when carbon is sp hybridized. Very characteristic. So what are these peaks due to? Okay, which carbon hydrogen stretching? When carbon is sp3 hybridized. So this part of the molecule. Okay, and carbon-carbon triple bond stretching comes here. This is also important, but a small absorption, and it is at 2119. You can say around 2100. 2100, this appears. Okay, we end here, and we will go through the next spectrum and the other things later.